Hi, you are tuning into a special recording of AWANI Review. We are coming to you from CzipLee Bangsa, a family-owned stationery and bookstore business. Now, if you are from Bangsa or Kajang, like me, and you would know that CzipLee is an institution in its own right. So I'm really thrilled today to be joined by the executive directors of CzipLee. We have Jason and Alvin Chen. Both are brothers, and both have taken over the family business, and they will tell us more about the business and how they plan to bring it forward. So thank you so much for having me at your store today.
Morning, Cynthia. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
So let's start with the history of
Right.
CzipLee for those who are not from Kajang or from Bangsa, who are not as familiar with the story. Could you talk to us about how this family business grew from a small sundry store in Kajang about half a century ago to what it is today?
Our dad started the store in 1968. Like Cynthia mentioned, it's a sundry shop. It's a quarter shop in Kajang. And then over the years, we have kind of grown. Then we went into more stationeries, we went to sports equipment, book supply to schools, and books distribution, and to where we are today in Bangsa, which we started in 2006, where we started our first flagship outside Kajang. And that's where things start to evolve much quicker. And we kind of changed things up a bit, introducing more exciting brands to the retail scene, especially in the stationery side.
So how would you describe the business today? Because I grew up in Kajang. I am familiar with CzipLee as the store that I go to get my textbooks or supplies.
Yeah. So in the past, we used to have stores that's where you go for your needs of your school supplies. We get your school books, office supplies. So where we are today is more of how we elevated it to be more of a lifestyle product. So making stationery more relevant, still relevant in the age of digital usage and all those. Making it more accessible and introducing interesting brands like Rodia, Clairefontaine, or work with local partners or like-minded industries like Apom, Lokame, even Leapbooks, how we can gel together as a community to expand and change the landscape a bit on the retail side, especially with how traditional can merge into this modern world.
Yeah, that's certainly a very interesting topic, which I will get to a bit later on. I want to get to your story, actually. Right. So, Jason, I understand you joined the business, followed by Alvin later on. Talk to us about that journey. Have you always wanted to take over this business that your father found?
There's no pressure at all.
There was no expectation, I guess, which was good. We grew up in the store, all the stores. So we had all the new things, first dips on everything. We go to school with the biggest color pencil sets and all that, which are nice to have as kids growing up, but there was really no expectation taking over the business or per se. So he came back in 2005.
2005, yeah.
Okay. And then Dad sat him down and said, "Hey, do you want to expand?" And we're like,
it was a trick question.
It's a double-edged sword, I guess. So it's one way to bring him back because he was in Australia for a good 10 years. Yeah. So when he said yes, then he called me and said, "Hey, do you want to do this together?" I said, "Okay, how long? 5 years?"
And how long has it been since?
17, counting.
16, 17. So yes, I don't know. I guess we tricked into this whole family business thing, but yeah, it's been good. It's been fun.
Okay, well, talk to us about that, transformation, from your dad and then to both of you, the second generation, and what's the idea here? Of course, there's a big legacy, behind CzipLee, but where do you want to bring it to?
Well, of course, we want to see it grow. We have a dream of having it, more accessible to everyone, making it more interesting. We don't want stationery retail, especially where you go in, it's just rows and rows of files or pens. But we'll make it, like this store here is a bit more fun to dig around and find something that's nice. Or even in our the concepts that we have in Johor, in South Key, where it's a vast space of 10,000 square feet. We have different products from things that people have not seen before, but just yet they can just enjoy and experience it, which is something that we want. That we emphasize a lot on customer experience. They come in, it's just not finding the cheapest pen in the shop, but finding nice quality pens by a good price, and yet you know how to use it, not buying to put in the shelf or something.
So it's about creating more experiences than
Yes.
just selling.
Yes.
And also the aspiration, I
Yeah.
guess, from buying a regular gel pen. We hope to aspire you to buy something better that you would like, or you could gift it to someone. But it's more of that experience of growing with the stationery as well, or the product.
Now, first, in a world now dominated by online shopping,
Yep.
e-books,
Yep.
how do you justify having physical retail spaces? And you have quite a number of, you have one in Johor,
Yep.
one here, one in Bangsar Village soon,
Yep.
and you have a couple of pop-up stores
Yeah.
and concept stores as
And,
well.
and the one still, the Kajang one as
And
well.
the Kajang one, of
Yes.
course, yes.
I think it's down to the experience.
Experience again, yep.
Back to the experience. I think we're big advocates of giving you the best service that we can. So that's sort of a culture that we try and develop, where our team has to buy into that culture of giving you the best service with the best products available. We do different experiences. So if you walk into each store, you get the familiarity of CzipLee, but you may not have the same things, but you know it's a CzipLee store. That's what
Okay.
we're trying to build.
I'm
now.
quite intrigued when you said getting there. What is there for both of you?
Well, if you ask our parents, getting family-style business means customer service is always at the forefront. So that's been very important since day one for both our parents and how they want the business to run. We can't be in every store, so we trust the team to really push that forward for us.
So it's not just about getting more locations out there.
Yep.
What is the plan then? Would it be creating more lifestyle experiences for people to enjoy? Would it be getting into more spaces that you've never been to? How does that look like for you?
A bit of both. Getting to, of course, as a business sense, of course, we have more outlets and more location is the best. I think for us, we're taking a while to get there because we're still cultivating, like Erwin's talking about experience, and you get a first-hand experience when you come into our stores. There's a trademark, or there's a kind of a style and identity to each store, which we know. We walk in, it's a CzipLee service. So we'll get there eventually, but we're doing it one at a time. Like building up store, like Johor. Like for Bangsar, for example, it took us about close to 40 years to start another outlet outside of Kajang. And then the South Key came just before the pandemic. That's another 12 years later. And now we're reinventing the store in Bangsar. It's another period of time. And we're also moving out to different locations like pop-ups and different concept stores. It will take time because everything needs training. But we are grateful that we have a team. Some of them has been with us since we started in Bangsar, for example, or in the Kajang one, some of them have been there for 20, 30 years. We are grateful with a team that's there with us, that we could grow together, and they kind of understand the culture that we're trying to build here, right?
That's how we
He's
try.
just going to agree with you, anything you say.
Yeah, that's,
Well, you mentioned the pandemic.
Yeah.
You've been in business for 16 years. I imagine that would have been one of the toughest time for many businesses, especially one that rely on footfall.
yes.
How was
definitely.
that experience for you?
It
and what
was,
have you
it was tough, but I guess we've gone through different phases that it has probably made us more resilient, and the pandemic has pushed us to be a lot more adaptable now with
Can you
certain
talk to us how
decisions.
so? Now, how have you changed your strategy?
Post-pandemic.
Yeah,
Pre-pandemic.
no.
Oh, okay. So post-pandemic, one of the main thing that we did was to sell an asset, which is this store used to be a lot bigger, double the capacity and the size and the floor space. We used to run a full concept in Bangsar with store next door in here. But post-pandemic,
brought us to realize the priority in running a business.
Yeah.
You mentioned that footfall is important. Yes, footfall is important for retail. So we have to make a change where we sell an asset, we keep on holding on to the asset, or we we just let the business slow down. You know, cash flow is always important. So we decided with our dad that we should let go.
With his blessing, I guess.
With his blessing to let go. It's
That must
typically
be hard.
it's
It
hard
has
because
so much
typically it's
complexity.
not.
Yeah.
It is not a trend.
Usual way to do
usual way to do things.
But did you
Everyone.
feel like you were losing something and you were kind of giving up by letting go that physical space at that time?
It is a bit.
Yeah.
50-50.
It's hard.
But it's a tough decision that we had to make because we prioritize that the business comes first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then one thing that we tried to do was to keep everyone. So keeping everyone was very important during pandemic. That also, with this change, we realized when we grow, the team grows, and the team that's been with us, they also are forced. Even we ourselves are forced to move forward now and just to do things a bit differently, be a bit more versatile with the
I'm
different
really
concepts.
intrigued by the conversation that you probably had with your dad on the dinner table during that pandemic.
I think we did it while he was away.
Yeah.
We called him and said, "Hey, what about this idea that we sell the asset?" And I think he didn't talk to us for a while. He just shut us off for.
How did he warm up to the idea eventually?
I think.
I mean,
maybe
when reality sets in, then we look at the numbers. You know
a
that
lot of prayer. And
a lot of prayers.
prayers and yeah. So
Yeah, it's also a leap of faith for
Yeah.
him to
do
agree
this.
to agree to this decision. Because like we're just a family business, so everything you see is what we have.
Yep.
Yeah. So for him to let that go because he's building up for this case probably the two of us and the generation to come, for him to let him go is a very, very big step. But then he kind of realized that it's something that we need if we want to keep the legacy and the business keep going during post-pandemic. Yeah.
Both of you clearly have very different ideas compared to what your father had in mind. So
Yeah.
I wonder that dynamic working in a family business and having that clash of ideas, the new and the old, trying to move forward, but also trying to keep the legacy of the
Yeah.
business. How's that?
That's why we're still here 15, 16 years later, trying to move things up. It was never easy. Of course, there's, a family business, there's always a gray line between, family matters and work.
I think it's also
It's still happening.
between us,
Between us.
especially as well.
Yeah.
I think our parents have been very supportive. It's also down to how things have moved on in Bangsar as well with the Bangsar concept. When we opened in Bangsar, we basically copy-paste Kajang into Bangsar, which we thought would work, but
But it didn't. It's a try and error.
it took us a while, and then through customers coming in, asking us for things that we've never heard of, brands that we were like, what brand is that? And through that experience, we started changing things up. And when they saw the results in all the changes that we try and push forward, that I guess gave them confidence to allow us to tweak to reinvent the wheel per se.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have quite a few outlets, and each one have very different personality, if I can put it. It's still CzipLee's DNA, but different personality.
Yep.
Talk to us about that. Curating different experiences for different set of customers.
Maybe we start with the Kajang one. It's still the same because it still caters for the school and I mean, you've grown up Kajang. Sometimes you go there for your stationery, your revision book, and all those. So it still stays the same because it serves the market there. Like Alvin said, the Bangsar when we first started is similar, but then we changed it up. We've introduced more new segments, new departments like the art supply. Not good brands that we started to bring in, and
Fine writing.
fine writing was something else we introduced. I think where we start dabbling beyond Parker, nicer pens. Then we came to where we are today, where like the store you are in today is a very curated store. We call it our kind of our boutique flagship, where you have an ink bar. But it's not really it's a bar of inks, so you can try your inks and test the colors that you want. We have pens that you can try out, and there are different kinds of paper from Europe, from Japan, even the local brands. But we're always developing new things, and upstairs is the art supply, where you have a higher quality of brands that you might not heard before, but it's something that we want to bring in to introduce to have you experience beyond what you normally do. The store in Bangsar Village now is going to we're going to open up a new one by November. That will be so-called the CzipLee Bangsar, the new CzipLee Bangsar. It will have bits of scaled down version of what we used to have.
With books as well.
Yeah,
There will be
books,
books.
yeah,
There will
books
be
have to
books,
come back,
and there will
yeah.
be more experience sections as well, where there's a communal area. We're looking at a courtyard inside a mall.
Yeah.
A few stationery will still be there, and kids play a mini kind of a play area.
Okay.
So that's all within that. And Johor one is basically another one. It's a different set of products as well, because we introduced a new brand there when we first opened, which is the Decopart from France, paper mache. And it was new for the market, so everyone was excited to see something new as well. So
And then we have the Zip Petite pop-up, which is currently in Bangsar Village 2, what we call the store now, which is a stripped-down version of CzipLee. Less things, and we've turned that into more pop-ups. So you see us more in, we work with Village Grocer, so we have a few spaces within Village Grocer, BIG, Food Merchant, and also in BSC Fine Foods.
I wonder, where do you draw your inspiration from, or what model do you look to, when you look at CzipLee and taking it forward? Because when you talk about bookstores and physical locations, and with the rise of the digital world, how do you complement them, and where do you look to see that, okay, this is a good model, this is something that we could do with CzipLee? Or you haven't found anything yet?
I think it's a trial and error at the moment. With all these new concepts and pop-ups, it's really trial and error. We're trying to find what works well.
yeah. And it's also from our travels,
Yeah,
because
traveling.
holiday is not really holiday for us in many ways.
Every
we used to
holiday, there's always, the first thing we do is, where's the closest stationery or bookstore? What can we see? What can we learn? And how do they do things? Yeah.
So some things that we do today, probably some ideas that we saw like a few years back when we were traveling a bit more. I think the inspiration is drawn between the two of us for now. Yeah.
And also through
Through
the core team,
the core team
back
as
end
well,
team
yeah.
that we have.
You mentioned both of you, sharing ideas. How is that working relationship? I mean, I'm sure there are times where you guys
Yeah.
clash.
We do clash.
But how do you
Most of the-
resolve it? I mean, at the end, it's about taking
So,
the business forward, right?
the poetry.
I think in most time that we throw out ideas, we are brainstorming. It can be challenging because both of us might have different interpretation of an idea. But it takes, I think, since we have been working for so long that we know that sometimes we have to take a step back and just reflect and then see, all right, he's right this time, but let's go with it.
I think
vice
over the
versa.
years,
Yeah.
we've also developed what we call it the power of three. So
Yeah.
there's always a third person making
Lately, yeah.
in decisions.
Yep.
So even for both of us, we have Sharon who comes on board to
Yep.
help us make decisions, and then that carries forth to the rest of the team as well. So in each group that we build, in each store, there's always a three core person that makes a decision. So that way, then it doesn't go. Every decision doesn't have to come from us. As long as we trust you, you do that. Two of you agree, then just go. If there's a mistake or something happens, then we pull back and readjust. So it happens for us as well. After a while, we realize that every time we have a disagreement about something, everything gets stopped and nothing moves. And when we go home, family dinners on weekends also there's a bit of
Tension.
undercurrent
How do you
tension.
manage that, to not let, feelings at work
I
just
think the
spill
fact
over
that
to feelings?
I don't go to bed with him, that helps. I can't imagine how it was for
Different
our parents.
houses.
Different houses, that helps.
yeah.
Our parents were in the business together. I don't know how they do it, but
Yeah.
they've managed to build this up. So I guess that's an inspiration in that
Okay.
sense.
What are some of the key lessons that you have learned from your parents running the business, and you felt like this is something that's even relevant until now, like 50 years later since they started the business?
I think two key things that our dad always tells us is being resilient, integrity, and our faith in God. That's the three things. Sorry, the three things that should be our core in running the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would it be the same for
Yeah,
you?
it's the same.
The same
Integrity is a
for
big
both.
thing
Yep.
for him. So every single thing that we do, even down to stocks arriving, one extra pen, you report it. Don't just, you would think that, oh, it's free from the supplier, just keep it. But that's little things like that. We will make sure that we remember and always do.
So CzipLee, it's when I think of CzipLee, I think of nostalgia and also there's a sense of community, right? But I mean, as you grow, how do you want to maintain that at the same time, growing your business to be bigger, to have more stores,
I
keeping
think
that DNA while expanding?
how we're going to develop the store is still a lot of community and nostalgic comes into play as well. So there, when it's ready, do pop by. You will find a lot of nostalgic experience. We hope.
Yeah, we hope. Yeah.
And the sense of community will still there because every space we create with there will be it's still I think the experience part will bring out the community because it involves the staff and the layout of the store. We are excited in a way. That
Scary,
that would,
but yeah.
that's how we are keeping it as a physical thing.
Now, you mentioned
Yeah.
scary. I mean, running a business, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I imagine you have to take a lot of calculated risks. And I
Yes.
wonder, throughout your 16, 17-year career with this family business, any instances where you thought that the idea was, there was a lot of skepticism, but it turned out to be, hey, it's a good idea after all.
I think that's the case every time we
Yeah.
make a decision.
Yeah.
There's a lot of skepticism about whether it works, but I guess when customers come back, the community itself in each store, or especially in Bangsa, community really rallied around, has been with us. And I don't know whether you're aware that we had a fire here in 2011? 2016. And when it happened, everybody was here. Our customers were here, our neighbors were here, all the shops, they were bringing food, water every day. Customers are coming by to check on us. And at that point where we were actually contemplating whether we should rebuild the store or just sell and do something else. But the fact that our community and our customers kept coming back to support us, even though they're not buying anything, they're just here just to be a friend, just to just send like drinks, watermelon daily when they see us clearing rubbish. That sort of pushes to want to redo the whole concept, a new concept in Bangsa for them.
Earlier during the show, you said that you kind of fell into this business, So I do wonder, for you to carry forward the business, I mean,
Right.
it takes definitely more than just, it's a chance, my dad asked me to take over. But I'm sure there's a lot of thinking that goes into it to build the brand for the next generation as well. What is that idea? What is that mission that you have?
We haven't thought for the next generation. That leaves the door open for them. I mean, we have our own target for the next five
Could
to
you share
10
that
years.
with us?
It's just to be rebuilding the CzipLee Bangsa. That's key. And then
Developing the concepts that we have laid out this year. I mean, post-pandemic and post-disposing the asset has allowed us to rethink and re-strategize. So there's a lot of things that we have planned. The concept is that we come up with the concept is not merely to fill out spaces, but to see what works for different community and how can we continue to be relevant in the community as well.
Will it still be a family business in the foreseeable future?
it should
Yes, it should be.
it should be. Yeah,
Should be.
our teams, like Jason shared, one like Linda, she's been with us for 16 years, so she is almost like kakak to his family. The rest of the team, we consider them as family. We try and build that culture of doing where we want to build this space that they can come and work and be safe in. So they can we relate to each other and to us as well. So that's something that's where the family still continues in that sense. Yeah. So we try.
What's the best part about working in a family? I know I've asked the challenges, but talk to us about the best part.
We can take holidays anytime. No, this best part is that we build not only a business relationship, but our brotherhood, our siblinghood goes through a lot of trials as well, which I think that's one that keeps us strong in many ways. Despite our differences or despite of saying nasty things about each other, but over the years, it gets stronger despite of what happened. So it helps us as well with coming to making business decisions that really push us forward.
You have
that's how it is.
put in the last word.
No, I think
Like
what
all that he said.
all that he said is right, and I guess it's exciting when you ask about whether it's the next generation is going to come on and all that. We're not going to impose, but
They're still young.
they're still young. But when they do come in, we see them get excited about things that reminds us of our childhood growing up in the stationery store. And I think I speak, I don't know, for him, for me, I come in, I still get excited seeing the things that we have.
We do.
And every time that we bring in new brands or new products or categories.
New candies in the store.
Yeah, it feels like, of course, now the prices are a bit higher, so you can't just like have one. It's not how it works now, but it's still nice to be surrounded by things that we love and we grew up in. Yeah.
It's also nice with new products where we can, we don't really use, we won't physically be using it on our desk, but to explore it and to share it with the customer it's very, very fulfilling in a way. So it's got some of the things that everyone was mentioning that we work in core, we got a core team helping us with certain things. So some products coming, we have not seen it physically. So when it comes in for us to try it out,
You get excited.
we
as
get
well.
excited
we
as
do.
well.
We still do.
Yeah.
Which is important, I guess.
Yes.
If we stop feeling excited, then maybe it's time
It's
to
time.
relook at,
Maybe it's time to tell your kids, no, not imposing on you, but if you want to take over like your dad did. Well, thank you so much, Jason
problem.
and
Thank
Alvin,
you.
for sharing
Thank
your
you.
story. It's
Thank
great
you.
to learn more about the company, and best of luck with the
Thank
plans.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Cynthia.
us.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much.